It's Wellness Wednesdays. It's Wellness Wednesdays. And yes, you read the video correctly. We are doing Astarion's guide to embracing your inner. Well, I had to put jerk on the on the thumbnail, but embracing your inner asshole. And yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Because I wanted to do some Baldur's Gate content this week, some positive Baldur's Gate content. Enough dunking on Shadowheart for a bit. But someone on the Discord forums said, can you do a video on, they suggested the topic of how to stop people pleasing and embrace your inner asshole. And I said, do you want that to be a video or a workshop? And multiple people were like, yes. So we're going to start here and then we're going to see how it goes. If you want to join these conversations on our Discord, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone you can use but can't afford at coffee.com/LeannaK. We're phasing out the GoFundMe precisely because I could not send invite links to people on GoFundMe. So, yeah. So, Astarion embracing the inner asshole. Well, we need to. I'm going to go back to one of my favorite screen grabs I have taken from my second playthrough of Baldur's Gate 2 because it sort of, I think it embodies the softer side of embracing one's inner jerk. So here we go. I had to rescale from the original picture. So this is, of course, from the circus in Act 3. Oh, good puns, because clowns aren't enough of a horror already. Right, and those are one of those everybody thought it, he said it lines. And that is the first step to the positive powers of, you know, your inner jerk or asshole. The taking reality for what it is and just saying it. That's one of the, you're not being mean per se. Later on, it's the other one's a spoiler, so I'm trying not to use spoiler things. That one's a good, like, in isolation one. But that's step one. Are you using snark to deal with uncomfortable situations? Yes, good. That is positive assholery instead of just being cruel, which is negative assholery. And Astarion does have a cruel streak. And that's what you gotta watch when embracing your inner asshole. That's something I am very aware of myself. There are certain things I think and don't say, just because it's not gonna help. And sometimes you don't want to help. Sometimes you want to blow it all up and watch the fireworks. I mean, just this week, I saw someone being picked on Twitter, and it wasn't my problem. I didn't need to get involved, but it was wrong, and I can't right the wrong, but I can sure make the wrongdoer miserable. And so it was, now you get me. And notice the hand position, right? I literally went, yeah, now you get me. Yep, okay. And because I don't care. This person, like, the nastiness that the person was trying to hide in their nonsense victim routine turned on me, and everyone saw the claws. And once somebody sees that, you know, savagery, they can't go back to, I'm just trying to protect the community. Right? Now let's get to the core of Astarion, and I'll try to minimize spoilers just for people who haven't played through the game. The completion rate on this game is in the toilet, so a lot of people have not finished the game, which I'm trying to be mindful of. What's it up to right now? What is it up to? Because I can see the completion rate through my trophies because I've finished the game. And so where is it? Okay. This is a tangent I did not expect. Anyway, I'll look it up later. The last time I checked, it was like 13% or something like that, which is, you know, okay, here we are. It doesn't say anymore. Oh, they've hidden it. But yeah, so the achievement rate is quite low, and yeah. Oh, here we go. 17.8% of players have the all's well that ends well achievement. So there you go. So yes, pardon for that tangent. I should have had that, but I didn't know I was going to go there. So anyway, Astarion's core trauma that is why he is an asshole. And this is central to this. Astarion is a jerk because he spent 200 years without being able to assert boundaries. And he was forced to be a people pleaser because he was, the vampire spawn of the tyrannical Cazador who enjoyed torturing him and the other spawn for shits and giggles. And then, megomaniacal ambitions as well, but that's a spoiler. So, yeah, he had to be a people pleaser. And the thing about Astarion is he went from being, a magistrate in Baldur's Gate to being basically, you can't get more enslaved than he is in game. He wasn't able to control his own body when Cazador gave a command. And so obviously when you are in a situation that is that abusive, you do people please, and you do get into a manipulation game where of course you have reasons for manipulating your abuser through people pleasing. It's not doing nice things for them. It's not making them happy just to make them happy. It's appeasing them, right? And you get into that habit when it goes on long enough, or it starts early enough. And I mean, Astarion is canonically 39 years old, which for an elf is kind of a teenager. But he's also had some skills slip because he hasn't been able to make choices in a long time. And my interpretation of the character anyway is he snarks, he's mean, he's petty, because that's his stepping stone to overcoming that fear of making choices. And his moral compass is pretty messed up because he's telling himself, again, my interpretation, don't know what Larian had intended, that the world is cruel as a way of regaining some of his dignity. And of course, the player can choose to help him, step back from that. And I do think that Larian handles this particular storyline quite responsibly, just because they show that there's, he's a lovable jerk for Astarion fans, but there is too much of a good thing. You can overdo it. You can lose touch with your humanity. You can overdo the cruelty. And these are all things you have to keep in mind. Use your asshole powers for good, not evil. And I mean, one of the things, the original video I wanted to do this week was about how Baldur's Gate companion stats make no sense. The idea that Astarion only has a charisma score of 10. Yes, you heard that. 10. Makes no sense, but that's another video. He does have the charisma to pull it off most of the time. Now, one of the things I have noticed with players is some of them have no compulsions about using Astarion's lack of boundaries for their own gratification. The choice with the creepy vampire fangirl is one of them. The foursome with the Drow twins is another. And, you know, he'll do it, but, you know, interpretations vary. My take is he's not actually, well, in one case, he's not actively not enjoying it. In the other, he's just people pleasing because now you're a person he trusts. And so he's going to do anything possible to maintain the relationship, even if it's not his favorite thing, as opposed to Gale, who will very politely tell you no. Team Gale. Gale doesn't get enough love. But, you know, that's the difference between someone who deals with what they're going through via isolation versus someone who deals with what they're going through via people pleasing. And that's the thing about, you know, assholes like myself, that when I do feel like there's an actual friendship, I will throw myself on the grenade for my friends. And that's one of the things you have to watch. I will do it for relative strangers if there's a morality principle at play. And one of the things you have to be careful with is the idea that you are expendable or disposable in ways. When I talk about, you know, my inner Billy Butcher, that's a big part of it, is that a lot of my calculations are, you know, I'm not as powerful as Homelander. I can't beat him in a fair fight. So I'm prepared to blow myself up in order to take him down with me. You know, that is a tactic I use a lot of the time because, you know, this is where I'm like, Astarion has a charisma score of 10. You know, I'm not really good at getting people to like me. I'm much better at accidentally getting people to despise me. And so I lean into that. And okay, we're going to use the superpower for pissing people off and just lean into it. Now, I do know that is a cope for my own damage, much like Astarion. You know, overcoming trauma is a lifelong thing. You're never over it so much as you integrate it into your experience and use it as a source of wisdom. But in order to do that, again, you're best when you're seeing things for what they are, hard parts and all. You're at your absolute worst when you are in denial and just hurting people so that you don't hurt. And I do think that Astarion's class as a rogue is one of the better mixes in the whole game. It's one of the better matchups. You know, Shadowheart being a priest or a cleric is the one that makes the least sense. Yes, I made a see. There's the thing. Rogues, backstab, stabby in the ribs. You know, he's a little guy. He's making jokes about, you know, how Karlach could break him. Kind of with some admiration there. But you know, he knows that he's not physically strong. You know, he can't take a ton of damage. He has to bob and weave, evade, and then, you know, stab you in the back. And that is a scary place. Speaking from experience, knowing that somebody can out-brutalize you changes your perspective on things. And the power of snark is, you know, if other people laugh, somebody's less likely to go off on you. But also you can go, oh, just kidding, darling, you know, which I don't do because I've got the Kratos streak as well. Kratos doesn't have an inner asshole. It's all outer. But that we can learn, we can take from that trauma in the past, not the biggest dog in the fight, have to work with what you have. It's that charisma score of 10 that I keep going back to. Because if you're gonna snark, you have to really have the riz to pull it off. There are people I work with, there are a lot of comedians that do lean more into the direct insults, and it's like I'm good working with them because I can go, oh, come on now. I can be the foil so that they can do it and not, the bit doesn't stand by it, but they can say it and everybody gets a chuckle and yeah, give it to them. I don't have the charisma to pull that off, and when you're embracing your inner asshole, you have to make sure, your mouth doesn't write checks that everything else can't cash. But there is the downside is that you engage with your inner asshole to feel more powerful. And that's a defining character point for Astarion. He's obsessed with gaining power so Cazador and anybody else can never hurt him again. And we all relate to that. But his whole arc is how far is too far that way. How much power controls you instead of you controlling it. And that is a very real thing. The awareness that you can, that you do have this monster that you can engage. You gotta do it judiciously. And you gotta be prepared that you can go too far. You can make mistakes. You can hurt people. And I tend, before I go full fangs on someone online, I will ask the person, I said to the people this week, I said, I'll say something if you want me to. But based on me and the baggage that comes with me, it could be made worse. It could bring some heat. It could get worse as much as it gets better. And, they were like, no, we appreciate the support. All right, here we go. Clowns aren't enough of a horror already. And so, you got to make sure you're not taking away options from somebody else. You are using your powers to fight a bully, not be one yourself. And that is a fine line. There are a couple times I'll do something, it's like, ooh, that was dirty. I stand by it. I'm prepared to accept the negative consequences of it. I'm prepared to take the hit, but I stand by it because something was a low blow doesn't mean the person didn't deserve it. If you're picking on someone bigger than you, low blows are really all you have. When you're bigger than the other person, when you're bigger and stronger, the problem with low blows is you're bowing your head to stoop low and somebody can go bump and knock you out. It's all about tactics. And that disconnection, being tactical, constantly having to beat a bigger, stronger opponent is another metaphor that we see in Astarion as well, because you always run the risk of becoming separated from your humanity. You can approach things in a very cold way, a very calculating way, a very the world is shit way. And it is through your relationships with other people that you're reminded that people do care and do give a damn. And that's why I went full asshole on someone on Twitter, this week, because the people the people who needed the support it helped for them to see not just someone fighting for them, but saw what they saw in this epic attempt at gaslighting. I don't know if I should mention their names. I won't, because I haven't cleared it. Maybe on Feedback Friday, I will talk about who this was about. But, in this case, it was somebody who had disclosed a mental health condition, and a pack of bullies online decided they were going to poke this poor woman with sticks, knowing it was increasing suicidal ideations. And I was nice at first. It's leave her alone. No matter what your reasons are, this is wrong. This is why she has her reasons. The Shadowheart defense doesn't fly with me, because everyone has reasons. It doesn't make you right. And Cazador has reasons, Cazador has very good reasons if you do all the explorations. In that mission, you get some of his backstory. You see why he made the decisions he did. It was mostly out of fear, but there's no good reason to push someone into crisis. And, I got all them going, well, you don't know what she did to me. And it's like, I said, I'm more than happy to look at whatever you have if you stop. And of course they weren't going to. No, that was a misdirect. That was a feint, because if they did it, hey, great. I'm surprised. And so problem solved. I don't have to go full asshole. I was just at 25% asshole impulse power. That's an image. But of course they didn't. And they gave me a tweet chain with dozens. It was their pinned tweet on their Twitter account, just dunking on this person and her partner. And then there was a 154-page document they wanted me to read. And it was you're clearly not reading it. You're clearly not reading it. Because I'm like, this is a nothing burger wrapped up in a nothing burger, wrapped up in a nothing burger. What is your issue with these people? You wanted me to give you a chance. Here I am. I'm giving you a chance, And it just got more aggressive and more aggressive and more aggressive. And the mistake from my point of view that the opponent made was they thought I cared if they called me names. They thought I cared if they cast if they questioned my intentions. And I knew what my intentions were. And was I going to defend something if I found out that the people I felt were wronged here? If they really did something wrong, would I have told them? Yeah, absolutely. And, I did make suggestions to them. Those will remain private because I believe in people keeping conversations private. And this is the thing. It is not being an asshole to violate a trust. If you, early on in the game, the first time you let Astarion, notably feed from you, he's like giddy and it's adorable. And he says, this is a gift, I won't forget it. And he doesn't. And with all the other people he screws over, he doesn't screw over you. And that if you want to engage your inner asshole to do good, to be better, to be stronger, and happier, that is something that must be inviolate. Someone who is in group is in group. You don't sell them out to save your own skin. You don't. Because that's not being an asshole anymore. That's betrayal. And that steps beyond asshole. Then you're not a magnificent bastard. the way he just Astarion self-describes. You're just a bastard. That's when you become Cazador, instead of Astarion. That's when you're no longer a likable rogue. You're just somebody who is not safe to have around. And you don't get to do that just once. Once you do that, you've wrecked the consent agreement. You've wrecked the permission structure that lets people think you're a lovable asshole instead of just somebody who, get the fuck away from me, I never want to see you again. And the reason that is so is because, let's face it, we are assholes to, like I said, take on a bigger enemy. It's that Ghost of Tsushima thing, right? When you walk in and you do the full samurai thing, and it's just you hit the triangle button, just you take on 3 different guys. You're walking in one against many, and the tactics, but you must stay balanced. You must stay active, not reactive. That's why there's certain moves Astarion does that you can't do unless you have advantage over your target. His whole moveset is about taking opportunities. You cannot brute force. He does detecting traps and lock picking and stealth and damage per second multipliers, and he can do some real damage in a fight, but you gotta combine the skills just so. And he's really super hard to hit because of that dexterity modifier. And that's the other thing, is that this is a high risk, high reward strategy. They hit you once, it's gonna cause maximum damage. Mistakes are costly because, you are being a dick in public. Everyone can see you. So you have to be absolutely fair. Like clowns. Former professional clown, okay? I even get the clown jokes. I know that clowns are freaking terrifying. If somebody wondered what I did as a clown, the job that the Joker does in the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, I did that. It was fun. But that was a trip. But, I get people don't like clowns. People don't like mimes. Did that too. People like to dunk on mascots. Did that too. And that you have to accept, if you're going to embrace your inner asshole, that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You're giving up. You're accepting that large parts of the world are going to think you're a monster and a subhuman that people can just use. People are going to treat you as viable. People are going to treat you as just an object that they can bash. And you have to be prepared for that to protect those you care about and yourself. Because you're getting over the very real after effects of one or multiple parties who were profoundly abusive. And I don't know of a way to overcome that psychic slavery, being that person's thrall. I don't know how to get over that without that reactive anger, wanting revenge, period, the way Astarion goes through. It doesn't mean you act on it. And okay, we can't all be as charming as Neil Newman, the voice actor, but we can have our moments where we can be self-aware and, it's like, I'd like to, you're aware that it's not your best moment. It's not a good look. What it is honest. And that's when you're, when Astarion's at his best, he's poking jokes at clowns and, saying the thing that everybody thought but didn't say because it's true. He's at his worst when he's being sadistic or catty, enjoying you you throttling children and being nasty about Chihira because he's intimidated by her because he knows she can take him out. And so you have to be careful to be the former and not the latter, but also accept that sometimes you are the latter and you have to take responsibility for that. And that's okay. You know, the occasional not my best moment isn't the end of the world. You just can't be defined by, I mean, Cazador means hunter. You can't be defined by constantly looking for prey. You have to make those bonds. You have to form those connections with people that, you know, being profoundly abused robs of you. Those trust issues are real. The expecting the worst out of people is real, and that's not going to go away right away. What you have to do is that thing I did. I was pretty sure someone was not going to pleasantly surprise me, but I gave them the chance. And I know I gave them the chance. So now that the gloves are off, I have no problem using the claws because I did give them multiple chances. And that's how I live with being an asshole. And being unrepentant in a lot of ways. Every so often I feel like, okay, that was kind of mean. I'm going to apologize for it. But most of the time, no. Most of the time, I react. I mean, you know, that Dark Knight and IMAX comment from last Friday gave a lot of people a chuckle. Was that mean? Yeah. Was it harsh? Yeah. Do I stand by it? Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't saying anything that wasn't true. It wasn't name calling. I wasn't saying someone was bad. I was saying, you know, the line was, you're projecting so hard, it might as well be the Dark Knight in IMAX, right? But true, right? And the truth is what gives you that damage multiplier. And so you have to be very, very clear on what the truth is, because you're not just running from a monster. You're running towards the potential to become a monster. And that's why patterns replicate. That's why cycle breaking is so important. And while you're getting distance from your abuser, from the reason you people please, you also have to be very, very aware that you have a positive goal to run to, and not just never again. Not just, I want to become so powerful that no one's going to hurt me again. Because you know what? That means you're never going to be connected to another person ever. Because when you feel close to somebody, they hurt you. Hopefully only occasionally and hopefully unintentionally. But it will happen. It's not a realistic goal to never be hurt again. There just have to be enough good times, enough, you know, soothing times, enough supportive times that the good far outweighs the bad. And that is realistic. In order to get that, though, you have to be there. You have to be somebody who can be relied upon. And, you know, Astarion, for all his shithead moments, is actually a very good ally. He will take one for the team. He will do things he finds repugnant if you want him to, because he is loyal to people who show him some kindness. He is, at his core, buried real deep, a decent person. He's just profoundly damaged, as all of us, you know, delightful assholes are. So hopefully that helped and was fun along the way. If you like content like this, I might do like these kind of cool defining qualities. At least I think they're cool. Defining quality videos on all or some of the Baldur's Gate free characters. I will try to find something good to say about Shadowheart. I should, if I make this much money, I will say something good about Shadowheart. We'll figure this out. I'll talk about this on Twitch or something like that. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/LeannaK, or forget the GoFundMe for now, unless you want to do a one-time thing and want absolutely nothing in return, so we can do our men's groups and other groups and talk about magnificent bastards like Astarion. Until then, I'll leave you with him. Thanks for watching. He's awesome. Play Baldur's Gate 3 and be well.